Good morning, everybody. This is Baxter. I wanted to make a video uh, just really kind of as a statement of where I am. And the statement is in response to all these talks and questions that have been coming my way about like what to do about burnout in hooping and what to do when the hoop world has changed and evolved, and you're not sure that you want to continue on with the evolution of it for whatever reason. Either you just don't like it, or it just doesn't move you, or it's uninspiring, and that kind of thing. And I get that. You know, I've been hooping since 2001. And in that time, I've seen the hoop go through all kinds of different phases and trends. And there have been certain phases and trends that I really liked, some of which I was kind of, at the center of. And then there have been times where, what everybody wanted to do and what everybody liked about hooping was just totally miles away from me. And to be honest, right now, sort of at least the online hoop culture is kind of like that way for me. I'm not, it's not, I don't have any like dislike at all. It's just kind of like where, it's kind of like if the way that certain music styles change over time and you just don't follow the style like down into its new sort of birth. And where I am right now in my hooping was I have really benefited and dealt with like any feelings of burnout by separating the practice from the culture. And I think that anytime a group of people gather, in any form around a practice, that a culture develops. Like a classic example would be yoga. And there is the yoga practice for people, and there is the yoga culture for people. And there are loads of yogis that, and this is, I'm not making a comment about what this is like, but there are loads of yogis that love yoga but don't dig the yoga culture. And so they participate in yoga either on their own, or they're the kind of student that just goes in, wears what they want, and leaves. And the culture is something that I think is kind of the icing on the cake. Sometimes it makes it too rich, and then sometimes it makes it perfect. And I have noticed over my 15 years that the taste of the culture has changed. And I think that that has a lot to do with it changing, but it also has a lot to do with, me changing. And so when I too recently like felt this sort of meh about the online hoop culture. The real life hoop culture I love. I'm in love with it. People are just so gracious and nice and whatever. The online hoop culture for me doesn't. It just doesn't spark me at all right now. I'm just not. But it's not like a diss. I'm sure that I'm not sparking a lot of these new hoopers either. But it's just, it just is what it is. It's a style thing. It's not a personal thing. It's just the art that they do that doesn't inspire me. It's not their sense of themselves or who they are as people or anything like that. And so for me, like what has really helped is like to realize that the driving motivation for me is not the love of hoop culture or my place in the hoop culture, but is my love of hooping the activity. And for me, as much as it stings to like put up a video that nobody watches, that sting is nothing compared to the joy and the benefit and the positives of having a daily hoop practice to me. And I am just a better person from my participation in hooping the activity. And I'm a better person because of my participation in the culture as well. But the effects that hooping has had on me will last a lot longer than my life in the culture. And when I think about everything that hoop has given me, it kind of helps me realize like when I'm being a little bit silly, like when I am being a little bit caught up in sort of a disgust or a distaste of online hoop drama or something like that. And it reminds me like, oh yeah, you know, I never was doing this to be, you know, the best at what everybody does. And in fact, just to be real, I've always, if I've seen somebody else doing something, it actually makes me not want to do it. Not because I don't like, you know, like it, but because I feel like, well, it's been done then. And so in my hooping, I've always sort of, you know, tried to gravitate to as much original as I can. And so the truth is that I just don't really care, honestly, like what's hip or what's in vogue or what's in fashion, because none of that shit is just always going to come and go. And yet the benefits of hooping are very steady for me. As long as I keep doing it, I keep feeling those benefits. And so whether or not people, you know, dig what I do, it ultimately it doesn't really matter. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got an ego like everybody, and it feels great to be wanted and to have lots of likes and reposts and things like that. But that's ultimately not, you know, my motivation to do it. And so my motivation to do it is for the health. And when I go out and teach, I'm going out to represent like what I love about hooping. And I really, really recommend this to other teachers, to other performers, to recognize, to represent yourself and your love, and that people will either take to it or not. You know, it's true that the hoop culture may eventually, it's so tricky right now. I may like, you know, people may lose the desire to come take workshops from me. But if I go off and try to be something that I'm not, then I'm going to lose the love for both the hoop culture and the love for the activity. It's the like finding who I am in it that is the love for me. And so that's what I'm going to do. And so, you know, I'm always going to go into my workshops trying to teach dance, trying to teach freedom of movement, and then hopefully trying to create kind of the, you know, the container of my own practice space here at home so that people might be able to go to some of the same places that I've been to. So if you're feeling burned out, I really, really, really hope that you will stay with us. Because if you leave the community right now, that your place as a representative of what you love is vacated. And the more people that leave the culture of hooping and then, or the activity of hooping, the less different voices there is, and then the more like bottleneck it becomes to where it'll, you know, eventually perhaps clog and even turn people away. So I hope that maybe this can help you get back in your hoop or stay in your hoop or give you re-inspire you to go out there and keep teaching. Anyway, thanks for the 8.5 minutes, and I'll talk to you later.